Worshiping on purpose. That has been our discipleship theme this week as we journey through the season of Lent as the people of God. Kind of under that discipleship season, we're kind of discerned and entitled Living on Purpose, taking a look at our habits, kind of talking about healthy habits for the disciple of Jesus. And this week we've talked about worship, what it means to worship on purpose, kind of intentionally having that in our mind. And in Hebrews chapter 10, which has kind of been our text for this week, the author of Hebrew writes, "Let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but instead, let's meet together and encourage one another, spurn one another on toward good deeds, even more so as we see the day approaching," that is Resurrection Day. Let us not give up meeting together. There's this theme throughout the scriptures that encourages us as God's people to not neglect that gathering, that corporate gathering that when we gather, God promises to meet us and to strengthen our faith, forgive us our sins, and we have the opportunity to encourage one another. Now, the last year, of course, has made that a challenge, and we've actually had to learn how to worship in new ways and creative ways that we really didn't plan for. But there's really no substitution for that gathering of God's people when we come together, and I know some of us were longing for that, for the time where we can get back and do that regularly and habitually. One of the tools that we've utilized over these weeks is a document each week we call Bringing It Home, which is just a simple devotional tool that we're kind of encouraging folks to process individually at home, maybe with your family in a small group. And one of the questions in that Bringing It Home document this week was, do you have a major influence that is causing you to neglect meeting with your church, with the church? You have a major influence right now that is causing you to neglect meeting with your church family. You know, the last year has caused us all to have some habits, maybe that we like, maybe we don't like, develop some new habits. But maybe the question to wrestle with is, what's your new Sunday morning ritual? What's your new Sunday morning habit? And there's this call from the scriptures, call from the Lord himself to not neglect that time where we gather together. I was chatting with a guy that I know here in the church in the last week, and he kind of said, I've kind of gotten in the habit of not being in worship over the past year, and I've kind of found that the more I miss church, the less I miss church. What he meant by that was the more I've missed church, the less I've actually missed it, less I've realized my need for it, and I need to create some new habits. I was just kind of able to say to him, oh, hey, man, the good news for you is God's made that pretty simple. It's a sacrifice of your time, right? Your Sunday morning ritual, what's that become? What needs to be sacrificed in order to let us not give up meeting together, to make that a priority? And so as we're challenging each other to consider worshiping on purpose this week, maybe what's one step that you and I could take to more intentionally worship on purpose? Maybe it's as simple as sacrificing that time, rededicating that time on Sunday morning to a life of worship, that hour or whatever it is on Sunday morning in the local church that you call home. We're going to rededicate ourselves to sacrifice that time, not just for myself, not just for you, but for the community of believers that you call your church family. We need each other to build each other up and encourage each other. That matters even more so today than maybe it has in a long time, our entire lives. Let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but instead, as we gather, we encourage one another, we build each other up, confident that the high priest, Jesus himself, meets us in that moment corporately, together as church family. And so maybe a challenge for you today, this week, as we challenge each other to live on purpose, specifically worship on purpose. What's one step that you could take to more intentionally worship on purpose as a disciple of Jesus? Again, maybe that's sacrificing some time on Sunday morning that had gotten away from you. Maybe it's on the preparation end as you think about stepping in to the temple, stepping in to the people of God, some preparatory work on your part. Maybe it's after worship, kind of thinking through what does that mean as it spills out into my week. Whatever that means for you, thinking about one step that you could take to more intentionally worship on purpose as a disciple of Jesus. And as you do that, God's going to bless that. So blessing on the rest of your day, the rest of your week, fellow brothers and sisters in Jesus, and we will talk to you soon.